Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Judd's Camp Notes. Yeah, the kids love Judd's Camp Notes. Yes. Today is the first full padded practice day of 2025 Vikings training camp. Are you excited? Judd, you and I are going to be sweating our clothes out today.
Good. You know what it is? Good work. Good summer work for the guys.
Get it in. Yep. You can't go light every time it's kind of hot, all right? What kind of football team do you want to be? You gotta...
And full pads, too. I think you need to be, make no mistake, you need to be efficient, right? Like, you don't go 2.5 hours, you don't do something dumb. But I think at the time that you get with the sweat that you build up on a day like this, I think you can get some very efficient football work done.
Judd's Camp Notes.
Come on. Football.
And even though they didn't practice yesterday, there's so much left over from Friday, Saturday. We hit you with a lot of McCarthy and some other topics yesterday, Metellus contract extension, but there's plenty more Judd's Camp Notes here today. I woke up excited for two things. One, Judd's Camp Notes, and two, as you can see by my Quick Trip trucker hat here, I get to go to the Quick Trip about a mile from the Vikings practice facility today, Judd. Very exciting.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you know what, Phil? Let's meet there, because who doesn't want to stop at Quick Trip? And who does not want to not just stop there, but you go inside and you realize, oh my gosh, look at all of the options. Anything that your heart desires, basically, from a grocery store standpoint. But here's the better part of it. Quick Trip's not a grocery store. More fast. It's efficient, friendly service. And if you need to fill up that gas tank, because I know my guy Mackey ordinarily driving around on E, which is a terrible idea. He can fill up his gas tank at Quick Trip. Quick Trip taking care of everything that you could possibly need. And if nothing else, put the app on your phone, go in, get what they'll have it all shopped and ready to go. My God, Quick Trip makes your life so easy.
Real quick, I know this is 30 seconds, and then we'll get into Judd's Camp Notes here. So I can't remember what day it was last week. It was Friday. Went to practice on Friday. Very light practice, but I had the gas gauge. It flashed the gas light.
Oh boy!
But it was like under 40 miles of cruising range, so I had like 37 miles left on the gas gauge, and I stopped at Quick Trip. But I had to kind of get in and out. I was thirsty and hungry, and I said, I'm just gonna stop in, grab a sandwich and a drink, because I can get back home with and I'll fill it on Monday. So today I'm gonna go down and fill it. We got 37 miles. You could drive all around the state.
Why?
Why
wouldn't you just take care of
it? Why will today? It'll be great. Anyways, Judd's Camp Notes. Let's go, Judd's Camp Notes.
Come on.
All right. From my disappointment, Sports Dad's disappointment, his boy Mackey not filling up the gas tank when the opportunity presented itself, just something I'm very excited about. This actually is original reporting done by our guy Thor. If you go to Thor Nystrom's Twitter account, you will find reporting done, sourcing, I think it is, that JJ McCarthy, the plan is, and I didn't even get to ask O'Connell this question this year. This is how good our guy Thor is. JJ McCarthy, the plan is for him to play in the first preseason game at U.S. Bank Stadium, and that will be it. Now, that's not surprising, but we didn't know if he would play at all in the preseason, and we didn't know what the plan would be, but Thor found out that it's going to be JJ McCarthy, obviously for probably a couple of series. I think Darnold played a couple of series in the first preseason game a year ago, so sort of the same plan there. And then he will be shut down as far as the remaining two games go. Now, keep in mind, too, he's going to get valuable practice time as well in the joint sessions against the Patriots here. So, Thorsky, great work. We find out the plan for JJ McCarthy.
Look at that. Original reporting. And you think he's just a JJ McCarthy propaganda highlight account, that Thor KU. He's definitely that, but also he's
thank you.
He's the news breaking guy, too. So, yeah, makes total sense, and obviously they could change that if they wanted to. Some of it might just depend on how much work and how he looks in the joint practice, because it is a 2-day joint practice with the Patriots, right?
Correct.
In a couple weeks. So
correct.
You go 2-day joint practice where you can control what do you want to see out of him? And you can control that along with Mike Vrabel coming in with New England. And then you put him in for, I don't know if it's going to be a quarter or a half. And if you feel comfortable with what you saw in 2 joint practices and like 3 series or something in the first preseason game, what's the need to risk sending him out there for another knee tweak, second, third preseason game? So it makes total sense. My guess is it's still flexible here, not to like discredit Thor's reporting, but there's still a couple weeks to play with.
Sure.
But it makes sense. And you've got a backup quarterback thing that you need to flesh out here in the next month too. So you're going to want to use the second, third preseason game to see, and the first preseason game, can Sam Howell play and operate your system the way that you need him to if he's going to be QB2?
And also, if and when McCarthy gets some reps, let's say it's a couple of series in that Patriots game, it's going to need to be with the first team. So, like, this is the thing. It's not just the quarterback. It's you're not going to put JJ McCarthy out there with a bunch of scrubs. So, in that case, obviously, no Darisaw. I'm curious on Fries. Obviously, no Jefferson. But if you're healthy and you're a first-team guy, you're probably going to play. So there's definitely some inherent risk involved here, which is why it goes well beyond just the QB. It's your entire, like, how does the first team look? Okay, you look good. See you later. Bye. You're done.
Yeah. I have an inside baseball reporting question. 2 parts. One, are you usually the guy that asks for the first time Kevin O'Connell? I know we're like 3 weeks early on this, but is that your thing?
I think I did that last year with Darnold, and I was tempted on Saturday, but I decided it might be a little premature.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. But now that it's out there, it warrants like, hey, this has been reported.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How much do you dig on it? I think Kevin hates this type of line of questioning. Yeah, so it could get contentious if you or somebody else.
He usually just laughs. He laughs about it. He's really good at he's annoyed, but he's very good at spinning off being annoyed with just like sort of laughing.
Okay. We've all been in press conferences. I deal with the Twins. I feel like once this is out there, let's say it is out there before KOC is available, does one of the TV guys grab it and run with it? Do one of the TV reporters say, "Yeah, it's been reported out there. JJ McCarthy might be one of the preseason guys." I can see also one of the TV guys jumping in there. But I would like Judd. I would like for Judd to ask Kevin O'Connell about this.
Yeah, I wanted to get closer, but now that it's out there, it's a good point. It's a good point. And you know what? People care about it. Again, you're asking questions partially. What do people care about, right? It's not just like, what inside football question can I ask or I sound brilliant, which, by the way, I try and do once in a while. But, it's also like, what's the plan here? Yeah. But, Phil, you bring up a really good point about the backup as well. Like, Sam Howell needs work. And I'm going to tell you right now, the continuing theme that I see from Sam is this. And I don't know if this is a training camp thing, but his statistics, as we talked about last week, seem to indicate it's not. The processing and ability to make a decision and deliver the football is not quick.
Yeah, let's officially transition into a backup QB.
We want more camp notes.
Football.
Yeah. Give us I guess it's been a few days since we've really done a deep dive into the QB2 situation, but yeah, what else do you have in your camp notes regarding Sam Howell?
Well, one is he is definitely the guy. Like he is getting a lot of the work. In fact, I think he's getting almost all of the work, except when they do these hodgepodge sort of second and third team guys, because they don't have enough offensive linemen for essentially 3 different lines.
Right, because 2 of their starters are out right now. And
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So Howell has taken a lot of or if not almost all, the second team reps. He's done it against the first team defense quite a bit, which is actually a good thing because, as we know, Brian Flores does not hold back. But the decision making, and it's a new system, so like you can make excuses. But as far as the actual processing, in my tracking of stats, in my tracking of stats, I do not charge sacks unless you literally do not deliver the football, okay?
Yeah.
Because like McCarthy's probably been sacked 4 times. But he gets the pass off. He can't be hit. It becomes a very I don't know. So long story short,
if like that 60-yard passes to Addison that we've seen.
Yeah.
Is it possible those were borderline?
No,
Or he,
no,
okay.
no. There's some very smaller plays that aren't as big.
Okay.
But I mean, there have been times where the defender gets to him and then he sort of shuffles or scrambles and throws, and it's a completion. So I just say, screw it, completion. So in the case of you don't get rid of the football, though, I'm calling that a sack. I think that's fair. Sam Howell's had about 4 of those. And it's just a processing, like, it's the difference between you watch a guy that's good at delivering the football and you say, that looks pretty simple. Maybe I could have done that at one time. Of course, you couldn't have. But then you watch Howell and he's doing what he's sort of going through, grinding the gears like, oh, okay, here, no. And so the Howell thing, I think, the sacks thing for sure is starting to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think in a vacuum, you would give him some grace and some leeway because he just joined the program in May, basically. I mean, they traded for him right at the end of April. He's jumping in. He's 3 months into this thing, trying to learn a system, teammates, everything. And so from that perspective, the processing, and by the way, he hasn't been in the league for 10 years. So the processing might be a little slower than like a Joe Flacco who's been around for 2 decades. And yeah, I can pick up a system and figure it out. But then when you layer in his 10% career sack rate in 3 years of, it was mostly one full starting year, but 3 years of being an NFL quarterback, there is a theme developing here that he's not the quickest to process and get rid of the football. So
Correct.
it's when you include that body of work with what you're seeing at training camp, he takes a lot of sacks. Like he's kind of a slow processor relative to his NFL quarterback peers.
And I do not know that is possible to survive, especially with a team where if the starter gets hurt, you are the next man up, and it's a good team. Yeah. Like, the more I watch this, in my opinion, it might not be fair. But first of all, at least in O'Connell's case, his attention is on one guy, and it should be JJ McCarthy, okay? So Sam Howell needs to sort of be, with coaching from certainly others, a little bit more of a veteran and self-sufficient, but you also have to be prepared. Like, the way that I watch these practices is, if JJ McCarthy gets hurt, can this guy play? And like every day, is he progressing? Mm-hmm. And the answer so far is, I don't know about that. And there are just some red flags still. But I will say I've amended, I believe I brought this up a week or two ago, and I on the show wondered out loud, could Brett Rippon challenge Howell? The more I watch this, the answer is no way. Brett Rippin's your 3. Brosmer actually Max Brosmer does not look bad. Now, he gets very few reps, but he looks pretty good. I like how he spins the ball. Decision-making, pretty damn good. I think he's a practice squad guy. But again, there's no way that he can ascend, in my opinion, to a 2 right now. So the real question is this, because you cannot, it's probably foolish to assume McCarthy couldn't be benched, but I'm assuming he won't be. But he's coming off a knee injury. Quarterbacks get hurt. You cannot assume health here. And to go back to our conversation from 2 months ago, you guys, this team is not built for, well, JJ McCarthy's hurt. Too bad. We're done. Like anybody, and I think Thor said that at one time, and I just completely disagree. If this was a young team and you were like, okay, it's all going to start to gel a little bit, and you know what? The sweet spot is 2027 or something like that. But this team is a veteran team that's built to win now. If JJ McCarthy, God forbid, is injured and misses 3 games or 13 games, I do not think you can go to the Wilfs and say, well, starter got hurt, see you next year.
Yeah, you owe it to this roster to have a plan B that, okay, maybe the expectation isn't plan B comes in because of an injury or a lack of effectiveness and wins the Super Bowl. But when you look at the last 40 years of Vikings football, you could argue that the 2 best seasons, or at least 2 of the 3 best seasons, were 1998 and 2017. Loaded rosters, weapons. Starting quarterback goes down in like week 1 or 2. Brad Johnson, 98. And then Sam Bradford in 2017. Mm-hmm. Randall Cunningham, the backup, jumps in. Now, Randall Cunningham also started down the stretch and a playoff win in 1997. But like he was the backup going into 1998. Case Keenum was the backup. So when you have a roster that's good enough to be like a top 5 or top 6-ish roster and weapons, yeah, like you owe it to. So if Sam Howell isn't that guy that, hey, if he plays a full season, you could still maybe make the playoffs and win a playoff game, then you should be scouring the trade market and waiver wire for sure. By the way, Kenny Pickett watch. We've been watching the Cleveland Browns because they got like too many guys in that room, and they're probably going to trade someone. Hamstring for Kenny Pickett. So if that hamstring gets better in a couple weeks, you might be able to buy low on a decent backup quarterback. We'll see.
And in 2017 too, because Case was also signed, or acquired, I remember, like in late May, and it wasn't really a guarantee he was even going to be the backup. Teddy was coming off the injury. I forget who else was behind. Someone else was behind Bradford too. It was like, man, they're bringing in Case Keenum. Is he even going to have a spot by the time training camp breaks? Ends up being quarterback too, and takes things over. And I'm going to guess back in 2017 too, probably watching early practices of Case Keenum and knowing what we knew about Case Keenum, I don't think there was a lot of optimism there too about him being a viable backup quarterback to Bradford.
Yeah. And the point too here is not that the Vikings have to go out and get a Pro Bowl backup, but you need a guy that can play.
He's a guy.
Just a guy that can play. And if Sam Howell cannot deliver the football, you can't play. So, like, you have to be able to be one of these O'Connell guys. You don't have to be a Pro Bowl player, but you have to understand what the mission is. And if you do that, you probably have a good enough supporting cast, you guys, where you can win some football games. And that's the question. Can you win football games?
Yeah, and on the Case Keenum front, one more note on that. So a little bit similar in that he had spent like 4 years in the NFL. Maybe actually he may have spent a year on a practice squad, but he did not profile as a guy going into 2017 where you would say if Bradford goes down, they're going to still go 13-3. That was shocking. Like, even though Keenum was kind of a veteran backup quarterback, he had started some games. It was pretty shocking that they still went 13-3. But his career sack rate is half of what Sam Howell's is. Keenum doesn't take a ton of sacks. He's a little reckless. He can throw 50-50 balls, but it's not 2nd and 10, drop back, oh my God, I can't see the field, and now it's 3rd and 21 and the drive is over, right? Like, the ball would come out of his hand at least, at the very least. So, and that was still to this day, like, that was his only really good season. Wow. So the circumstance can elevate a career journeyman backup quarterback, but they have to decide, is Sam Howell even on that level?
Right. Same year, Nick Foles. Same thing.
Now, it wasn't a full season of Nick Foles.
Correct.
It was like a month and then the playoffs.
But he came in and played well. But if you recall, there was a time, so Foles was with Philadelphia. He left there for, what was it, Kansas City, and then he considered retiring before that. He's like, I might be done. I don't really enjoy this. So, like, Nick Foles was by that point in time in 2017, that season, he was a journeyman who just went back there. So, like, that's what I'm talking about. Can you win games? Can you play? If you can't get rid of the football, if you throw picks consistently, you cannot play football.
Yeah.
Not for the
Step one,
Vikings.
I'd like to see the ball, especially when you can't get hit in practice. I'd like to see the ball just don't take a sack when you literally can't take a sack in practice.
And then don't throw a pick necessarily.
But that's part two. Like,
yeah. But I mean, like, throw it away, right? Like, throw it away.
Yeah.
I would rather see you do anything but take a potential sack.
Yeah. Got any more camp notes, Judd?
Oh.
Football!
So I withheld this one yesterday, gentlemen, because I wanted to bring something else, camp notes. We unloaded a bunch on Sunday from the Saturday practice, which was not done in pads. It was done in shorts and shells. It was fairly intense. But I've started to track. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing more tracking. It's statistical, too. So, and before you say, don't you have a life, sports dad? The answer is no. So here is what I was tracking on Saturday in my notes, in my Judd's camp notes. Carries. So I know they're the ball is handed off. The running back is not going to be taken to the ground, but it's still important to me to see who gets carries because a year ago, first team, Aaron Jones was the guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say on Saturday, 50-50. 5 apiece, first team drills, obviously, between Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. And I think I think that there's some debate about, well, is Jones still the guy? I mean, he's going to get is 70% of the carries. I think this is going to, if both guys obviously stay healthy, I think this is going to end up very close to 50-50. It might be situational dependent, but I'll tell you what I think's gone. What I think's gone is Series 1, Aaron Jones. Series 2, Jones. Series 3, Jones. Series 4, oh, here comes Ty Chandler. That ain't going to happen anymore. So Jordan Mason, I don't know if it's going to be a rotation of series. I don't know if it's going to be a situational thing where they both play quite frequently in the same series and the down and distance make a difference. But I'm just telling you, this is going to be way more of a split than it is that any one guy is going to be the guy. This is going, they are married as running backs. This is a union of running backs that Kevin O'Connell is going to use. And we're done with 1 and 2.
By the way, on Ty Chandler, I was flipping around last night. I caught the end of the 3M Open, which was, they're out there. It's 90 degrees, it's humid, and Kurt Kitayama, congratulations for taking it down at TPC Twin Cities. And right after it was over, I was flipping around to a couple of the local news programs, and I won't say which TV station. It was not Our 5 Eyewitness News, so I will exonerate them.
Okay.
They did like a Ty Chandler hit piece on their local sports.
What?
So they sent their sports reporter out to talk to Ty Chandler, and then they do like the voiceover setup.
Yeah.
And it's Ty Chandler was a 5th round draft pick a few years ago, not living up to the expectation as they show him like doing calisthenics or something before practice.
Sure.
And then the next clip is the reporter asking Ty Chandler, so what's it been like with, they brought in Jordan Mason, they brought in this competition, and Ty Chandler's like, I just got to be me. And they grilled him for like 3 questions about being a disappointment and someone coming in to essentially take his spot on the roster. And then they showed some B-roll of him doing special teams drills with the punt team. Like, wow. We're doing hit pieces on. Can we just leave Ty Chandler alone, for God's sakes?
Is this Boston? I don't know this market.
What's it like being a colossal disappointment?
Your thoughts?
Talk about it. Yeah.
You're going to be cut. What do you think about that?
God. Yeah. Anyways, I had a chance on Friday to talk to Wes Phillips, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I was there. I saw you doing it. Yeah.
And you were off. Like, there was a bunch of player interviews happening, and Wes Phillips went to the podium, just like outside next to the practice field. And I'm not like ripping any of the media members because they all got a million things to do, but only like 2 people were there for at least the first couple minutes of Wes Phillips. So I kind of felt bad, like, oh, no one's going to ask him any questions. I don't want to impede the day-to-day beat writers from doing their jobs, but I'm like, all right, I'm sitting here hanging out with Wes Phillips. So I asked him about Jordan Mason in pass protection and just as a pass catcher, because we've talked about this on the show. In 7 years, 3 in the NFL and 4 at Georgia Tech, which their offensive system doesn't lend itself to a lot of passing creativity. But he's only caught 39 passes in 7 years across college and the NFL. And we're trying to figure out, you included in your observations, is that because of just a lack of opportunity? No one's asking him to catch passes and play a role in pass protection too? Or is it because he's not good at it? And so in a tactful way, I asked Wes Phillips that question that, hey, at Georgia Tech, he probably wasn't systematically asked to do much of this. But then you guys have studied him in San Francisco. What are your observations of Jordan Mason in the passing game? And he gave a pretty good answer. I would say the summary of it is there's no major red flags or reasons why Jordan Mason doesn't catch more passes. They love when he does have the ball in his hands. They love the way that he, direct quote from Wes Phillips, sticks his foot in the ground. So the damage that he can do once he does have the football. They love that. They feel like he can catch passes, and they're going to put him in positions to do more of that maybe than San Francisco did. In terms of just being on the field for pass plays where you're not catching the ball, but you might have to stand in and pick up a blitzing linebacker. So the last 3 months have been just a lot of ingesting the new rules of pass protection that the Vikings have compared to San Francisco. So each different system and each team might have different things that you'd have to read, or like, okay, the offensive line is calling it this way with this look. That means your job is this as a running back, and there's just a lot to study. So they've spent the last 2 or 3 months kind of going over the different rules compared to San Francisco. But long story longer, they do trust him to be on the field for passing plays and to catch passes too. And we'll just have to see if they actually do more of that with him than the last 7 years of his football life.
I love this. I absolutely do. And look, there's also a chance that he wasn't asked, as you just said, Phil, to catch the ball in college. So he comes out and the Niners are like, okay, you probably can't catch the ball, right? Like you have to go find out. And the Vikings are definitely doing that. I also don't think you can't be a 1A, 1B if one of you can't block too. Like you have to block. I think what's going to ultimately, at the end of the day, cost Ty Chandler a spot on the 53 is not the fact that he can't run. It's the fact that he doesn't know the intricacies of the offense. And that is just picking it up and learning and blocking. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. I'm sure it's a pain in the ass. And if you're a star, if you were a star in high school and now you get to college and you're asked to block a little bit, and now you get to the pros and you're asked to block a lot. But I think part of what should make, hopefully, the Jones-Mason duo dynamic is opponents can't know exactly what you're going to do when one comes in, other than the red zone where Mason's going to pound the rock deep red. But beyond that, I think, if you're at the 45 and I know exactly what you're going to do because one guy's in, that's a really bad tell. So I think this kid will ultimately be fine, but the ability to catch the ball, put his foot in the ground, and I told you guys, I think he's a West Coast type of back.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of screens.
If it is a true 50-50 or even a 60-40, let's give 60 to Aaron Jones. If the distribution is the way that Judd's Camp Notes is tracking, then they have to trust him on passing plays. Correct. Just for deception purposes.
Yep.
So that is an interesting thing to watch, especially in like full padded team. It gets a little more intense on a day like today.
Yep.
Flores is going to be in his bag a little bit more in pads. And so if Blake Cashman goes rogue through the B gap or whatever, that's right.
Football.
He could.
Is Jordan Mason, is he going to identify it, pick it up, right? That's the most important thing. That's what catching passes is not as important as catching linebackers in pass protection to stay on the field for passing plays.
Can I paint a picture quickly here? How
Sure,
about this?
They're your camp notes.
How about this picture, though? Jordan Mason he chips, okay? Picks up his block. He helps, he chips.
Throw a shoulder into an edge rusher on the way out. Yeah.
JJ McCarthy looks downfield. Read 1, read 2, read 3. Nothing great. Jordan Mason standing there now because he did his job. Check down. Now, in that case, the check down is great, especially if Mace can rumble and stumble for 12 to 15 yards.
Put his foot in the ground.
Yeah.
And get up the field.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Camp Notes. Before we get to the rest of Judd's Camp Notes here, let's put our feet in the ground and move forward to MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. When it's 90 degrees every day for like a week and your air conditioning is not working well, these are the people to call.
The sweat is on. It has been hot, humid, sticky, icky, all of those things. And Sports Dad's got a question for you right now. Is your AC working? And I don't mean being on. I mean running at full efficiency. If you think it's not, here is the simple solution. Or heck, if you've just been using the AC a lot because it's been so hot, MSP $49 AC tune-up, a no-brainer for a peace of mind to keep that AC humming along. Also ask about their Total Comfort Club membership because that system is going to keep you secure and safe in your home all year long when it comes to plumbing, heating, and air. Give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com. Call MSP.com. Sports Dad approved. I've used them. I've allowed them in my house. They do fantastic work, so you can trust them too. Call MSP.com is their website.
If you're a former fifth-round pick and you get cut from your football job, there might be other great places for you to work. Federated Insurance actually hires a lot of former college athletes. They're looking for people who value and exhibit integrity, teamwork, respect, and equity. And it could be either a place to pivot your career or start a new career altogether. If these things describe you and you're interested in finding out more about Federated's workplace culture and opportunities, visit federatedinsurance.com/careers to learn more. That's federatedinsurance.com/careers. All right, Judd's camp notes. Let's keep rocking here. Judd's camp notes.
Come on.
All right.
Football.
Let's talk about the cornerback situation, which I find to probably be among maybe what I would call an anxious fan base, a hot button issue, right? Like, do you have enough corners? Now, you've got a bunch in camp, of course, but they're bodies. So it was interesting on Saturday. I think we mentioned this briefly on the episode, Phil, that we did yesterday. But so Isaiah Rodgers did not take part in practice. Now, he did not take part in a practice that happened after Kevin O'Connell had spoken, and Kevin O'Connell did not talk about this. So we do not know what's wrong. The good news is that Isaiah was on the sidelines for the entire practice. There was no like obvious distress or brace or something like that. So he could have tweaked a hamstring or something like that. But anyway, so what did the Vikings do is the next question, because now it's been so far up until Saturday. Isaiah Rodgers outside, Byron Murphy Jr. outside. When they go to the nickel, Byron Murphy Jr. moves inside, and Jeff Okudah comes in. So your corners on Saturday's practice were Okudah and Byron Murphy Jr. outside to start with. And then when they went to nickel, Murphy again goes inside. And by the way, he's having a fantastic camp, just as an aside. And then, not surprisingly, Mackay Blackman comes in. But all of this still brings up the question of how comfortable do you feel about your depth there? Like, do you feel comfortable enough? Because the next guy up, I think, is Dwight McLaughlin, who made the team as a UDFA last training camp. And he's not seen any first-team reps yet. Now, that's not entirely surprising. But I do think that there is a conversation that's a very fair one about, because, you know, cornerbacks do tweak hamstrings and things like that. Very fair question about, all right, if somebody goes down, how much do you trust your depth? And keep in mind, too, I think it's fair to say,
Judd's camp notes.
Come on.
Sorry.
Football.
Fat finger.
and we're back. As much as they have given him a chance, Jeff Okudah is still a relatively unknown, right? Like, we don't know. He's been hurt a lot. He's been a complete bust as the third overall pick in the 2020 draft. So I think the dialogue about the depth at cornerback remains a very fair one. And what's interesting, though, is if you're watching around the league, the Dolphins lost a starter and signed a guy. I want to say the Cardinals just lost a guy, a cornerback. So cornerbacks and players in general, as always is the case, are starting to go down. But like that list of guys, the list of corners on their couches is going to be shrinking. So how comfortable do you feel about your depth at corner?
I have a few questions off this. I'll start with more of a macro question, and then I have a schematic one too. Are the Vikings exhibiting too much hubris with both Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah? With Rodgers extrapolating fairly small sample sizes, a guy that's never been close to a full-time 1,000-snap cornerback, and saying, oh, based on what we've seen in the smaller sample size, by the way, with a great defensive front in front of him in Philadelphia last year too, which the Vikings might have in 2025, but they're projecting Isaiah Rodgers without a lot of a safety net behind him in terms of depth.
Correct.
To just be a guy that can play almost every snap, right?
Yep.
And then with Okudah, it feels like in the positions they're playing him in, like just the reps he's getting with the first team defense, and he's one of their top 3 corners on the depth chart right now, right? Like from what you've observed throughout minicamp, OTAs, and training camp.
Most definitely.
But he's been pretty bad to this point in his career in coverage. I would say passable, according to Pro Football Focus's scouts anyways, in the run game. But
yes,
they're taking those two guys who are question marks in different ways and saying, hey, we're projecting their best case scenario in this system, and we feel good about the best case scenario. Too much hubris?
Potentially, yes. And the Rodgers thing that intrigues me about him not practicing on Saturday, and we don't know, again, if something was wrong, but if he's predisposed at all to being dinged up, which some guys are, no judgment, just some guys are, then the hubris there is, you really think he's going to play 17 games? And I don't know. The answer might be no. The answer might be nothing was wrong. I don't know. But it feels like unless you really trust like Dwight McLaughlin or somebody else who has not gotten a first team rep yet, and Mekhi Blackman missed a year and is coming off an ACL, so there's still a lot to be determined there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like it could be a very slippery slope not to have a little bit more depth of somebody who could be plugged in. Okudah worries me because you're right. Like, who knows? He could not be good. I mean, I have no clue. He certainly's been hurt a lot. Rodgers is a Flores guy, so I think I've been predisposed to be like, oh, well, he's a Flores guy. Brian Flores can get the max from him. But if he has any problems staying on the field, that becomes a whole different subject. So, yeah, I would say the answer to your question right now is yes.
And then my schematic question is I'm sure this is part of the equation, but if you have anything to elaborate, chime in here. Are they banking on, with the additions of Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, Dallas Turner maybe taking a leap in year 2, that with our front 7, this is them talking, with our front 7, we're going to get so much pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and we're going to do it without blitzing nearly as often as we had to a year ago, where the Vikings had the highest blitz rate, and it was close to 50%. It was like between 40 and 50% of snaps they sent an extra rusher because that was how they generated pressure. That we're gonna take pressure off of our secondary by not sending extra guys to rush the passer as often. And so because we're going to be able to cover some more spaces and more parts of the pasture schematically, then we're a little bit less anxious about lack of depth in the cornerback room.
Yeah, I've thought about that though, but Flores asked so much that I don't know that he would bank on like should they blitz? Yes. Will they blitz a ton less? I don't think so, because like part of his makeup is to confuse and blitz. Like just to use your term, the schematics of what Flores does are all about mass confusion. And so if you can't carry your water, I don't think Flores is going to protect you indefinitely. So I think that this is just they think that they can maximize these guys, but there's going to be times. I mean, if you look at what Flores wants his corners to do, like Jeff Okudah doesn't really fit that role. Like he plays man. He would prefer to have you be able to play his style. So I think the back end there, at least at corner, remains really, really intriguing. The good news is, though, just quickly, I can't emphasize this enough. 4 practices down, Byron Murphy Jr. looks fantastic. So I think that's the good side is this guy looks great. 2 years ago, I thought, he's okay. He can leave, right? Yeah. And then he comes back last year for the last year of his contract. So like, oh, hold on a second. This guy's pretty good. But is this like, but like our team's throwing towards him because he's getting all these picks? But it's still really impressive. In training camp so far, he's breaking up passes. He looks great. But I do think that there is concern here about what else is going to take place at cornerback.
And by the way, maybe to negate my own theory there about could you let the Vikings were number 1 in blitz rate, just below 40% was their blitz rate last year. And if you go back to Flores' time in Miami, there was a couple years where he was up in the 43, 44% range in Miami, certainly in the upper 30s. So wherever he's been around the same kind of 40% blitz rate with some better defensive fronts in Miami at times too.
Okay. On air, on podcast, plan for today's practice. Especially,
you can give me an assignment here?
Yes. Especially because I'm tracking McCarthy. I'm trying to track things. But for the cornerback position, and this is especially true if Isaiah Rodgers does not practice again. Mm-hmm. See if they play when they are in base then, which would be Okudah and Murphy outside. Mm-hmm. See if they always keep Okudah to the short side.
Okay.
Because that's what's been talked about is because if you expose him on the far,
so essentially give him less space to cover.
Correct.
But that also, does that open up your defense to say, oh, cool, you're going to do that? Awesome. Then we're going to put our number 1 stud receiver over there on the short side against the weaker cornerback.
I'm with you totally. I'm just saying, let's see if there's some type of like devised plan here.
Okay.
That's all I
like
can think
this.
of.
I like this.
But I agree. Yes, I do not think that that's an answer. I just wonder if that's what they're going to try to do to start off with.
Is there anything else I can track while we're
Yeah, if you could track,
can we track blitz rate during 11-on-11? Is that too aggressive?
I mean, no, you can. If you can track,
It's a lot to keep an eye on.
if you can actually track second team defense and defensive line, I'd really appreciate that.
So you want to know like who the down linemen are?
Who the down linemen are with the second team? Redmond, Taki Taimani, the new kid that they drafted. Yep, I think we've lost Declan, by the way.
Or he's just
or he fell asleep, or he's really
absolutely
bored with this show.
fed up with what's happening. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, because there's a lot to glean, and I think, so I think within the next 5 practices, we're probably, and they have Thursday off. I think we might see 4 in pads. So we're gonna glean a lot this week.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week. If you're a fan on the fence, should I come out to training camp? The padded practices are always the best value because it's like we're the most they're trying to get the most meaningful work in.
Yes.
But then later this week, meteorologist Mackey here, it's going to be a lot milder later in the week too. So if it's padded practices and it's upper 70s, sun is shining, this would be a good day, a good week at Vikings camp.
And we've got practices Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday today. We know they're in pads. My guess is there's at least one more Tuesday or Wednesday in pads, if not both days. And then I bet Friday they come back in pads as well.
We do have to get to a random Viking of the week here in a moment. Give us like 1 or 2 quick little nuggets here from your notebook. Judd's camp notes.
Come on.
I told you, I teased this actually a day ago. I teased this, but it looks like we are getting a little bit more clarity on a very important thing: the punt returners. Okay, so I told you, I think it was last Friday or so, there were 9 guys returning punts.
9?
That's a lot. 9 guys. On Saturday, that we were down to Jalen Naylor, Dante Fleming, not going to make the team. Miles Price, not going to make the team. But these next 2 are interesting. Rondale Moore and Silas Bolden, who, if you look at their frames, are essentially the same guy. Like, they're both smaller guys, receivers. But again, I think if either one, I think if Moore or Bolden makes the team, it is largely because they can return. So that's my guess. Naylor's going to be the third wide receiver. He's going to bump up to 2 when Addison probably inevitably gets suspended.
And then number 1 when Jefferson gets put on PUP with
Stop it. Just
a severe hamstring strain.
Let's not talk about that. I'm telling you, just shut him down. Shut him down till Chicago.
Shut it down.
Shut him down.
Shut it down. I was watching Bar Rescue, some like 10 years
Wide
ago.
receiver
episode
rescue.
Last night.
Shut him down.
Shut it down.
Shut him down.
Judd's camp notes, everybody. We want more camp notes
Football.
tomorrow.
Yep. From
Full
both
bag
of us.
tomorrow. Yeah, now that you've given me some assignments here, this is great.
Oh, and
Judd's
you can
camp
take care of
notes,
the defense. I'll take care of
delegating the second team defensive line here.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch me just forget and blow this
I'll remind
entire
you.
assignment. Okay.
Second team defensive line, the linebackers, and we are seeing a lot more, or we certainly did on Saturday, of the 3-headed monster of Van Ginkel, Grenard, Dallas Turner out there.
That's right. Yeah.
Like this is real. And keep in mind too, if those guys all play, it's just going to be, what I'm so curious about is what Flores' personnel looks like as far as like how many of each position actually play.
Yeah. And Van Ginkel can drop back into coverage, as we've seen.
yeah.
I mean, with his pick 6 ability too. So, hey, on-air production meeting. Can we push Doogie for like 3 minutes? We're good on that.
Yep, we're fine. He says 10:05 is fine. We're good.
We're going to do a little just cheap plug for the Score on Our Twin Show, a pre-trade deadline Doogie special here that you can find on those feeds. Before we get to the random Viking of the week, where Declan has the clues here, let's go to Butcher and let's get some meat sweats on here. I saw some video. I've not been there yet. The new patio looks awesome.
Yes.
I saw one of the local, it might have been like MSP Mag or something, had a big Instagram feature on it, and it looks glorious, Judd.
Yep. And it's the place to stop if you are going downtown or to the North Loop, where Butcher and the Boore is located for a Twins game. Check out the patio. It's big. It's luxurious. It's absolutely outstanding. There also is a Butcher Backyard patio menu. We're talking crispy Thai sausage spring roll. We're talking a cheddar wurst. So outstanding food, great drinks. Enjoy a beer. Enjoy craft cocktails, and of course, inside the Southern style hospitality food. I don't even need to talk to you about that because we all know that is outstanding. Butcher and the Board, North Loop, a great place to stop before a ball game or a trip to that area, the Butcher and the Board. You are going to be very, very happy you did.
Time for the Random Viking of the week here, so we reset this thing a few months ago after 3 years of exhausting over 150 previous Random Vikings. Everyone's back on the board. I rattled off 7 straight wins, clearly cheating, by the way, to start this thing. But since then, Judd had 3 in a row. Declan got on the board with Brooks Bollinger. And then I finally got back in the mix after a month with Jarek McKinnon. So I have 8 wins. Judd has 3. Declan has 1. He's throwing out the clues today. We get up to 3 incorrect guesses each. If one of us hits the third one, the third strike, the other one wins automatically. You can shout out guesses whenever you want. Here we go.
All right, this random Viking, twins in the mind, played in 37 games with the Vikings. I know Judd is not really on Instagram, but Judd, you do follow this random Viking on Instagram.
Wow.
Phil, you do not.
Yeah, I'm very choosy with the athletes.
Hold on a second.
I follow.
I'm just going to check who I follow on Instagram. Oh!
Do you even know how to log into Instagram?
Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I've got it still.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't do a lot with it. It's fine. It's a great place. Okay. I follow him on Instagram. No idea who it is.
This random Viking has 1 postseason touchdown.
Judd follows him on Instagram.
That actually did me no good at all. It's a shame.
That postseason touchdown came at US Bank Stadium. Gives you an era.
Okay, and the first name that came to mind actually is not the guy that would have played 37 games with the Vikings. Postseason touchdown, US Bank Stadium. Hold on a sec. That's a great clue because
It's. I mean, there's only 1. Am I? Oh, no, never mind.
no,
You never said win. Okay.
correct, but there's still not that many.
This random Viking of the week
Yep.
had 9 touchdowns with the Vikings in the regular season.
And he played 37 games as a Viking. So that's that's a decent little chunk. It's not just a one and done. No, that's not right.
You wouldn't have had that many.
I'm gonna look up something here to double check.
Uh-oh.
Nothing of that I've said that's not
Oh,
true.
okay,
Looking up
okay.
something.
Oh no!
Oh, this is I declare
Worry
mistrial.
about you.
It's a mistrial.
Everything else has been accurate. This random Viking has made $8.6 million in his NFL career.
Okay.
I'm going to take a guess.
It's KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne is incorrect.
I don't think this guy played 37 games, though. But what the heck? I might be wrong about that. Latavius Murray?
that's
Latavius
a
Murray
great guess.
is incorrect.
I don't think he played 37 games with the Viking. But he was around for that era. So we're both We're both in the hole, -1s.
We both chose different eras there a little bit, though.
A little bit, yes.
Mm-hmm.
8.6 million.
This random Viking was drafted one spot ahead of A.J. Brown.
What a bust.
Ahead of A.J. Brown, ahead of DK Metcalf. Hell, ahead of current Viking, Josh Oliver. He was one of the first 50 picks in his draft.
Holy cow.
Okay, so hold on.
This is embarrassing.
And this random Viking, if you haven't caught on already, is still active in the NFL.
So he's on, I think I know the exact season.
So it's that game.
Wow.
It's that game.
He has caught touchdown passes from Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Irv Smith?
There you go. Nice job.
Irv Smith Jr. Ding, ding, ding. There you
I
go.
was trying to think, literally trying to think, who are the tight ends? Who are the tight ends? Irv Smith Jr.
Irv Smith Jr.
He caught 9 touchdowns as a Viking, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nice
God,
job.
Playoff touchdown.
I expected him to be good.
We all did.
Irv Smith Jr. gives Judd his 4th victory in the Random Viking of the Week 2.0 edition here.
My God, they took him before A.J. Brown.
And DK Metcalf.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, though, they had prime Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs.
Didn't DK have some red flags at that time as well? I thought he fell really far from expectation. I mean, I'm not justifying not taking him.
He's definitely exhibited some red flags in the NFL.
Yeah,
but,
I thought he had some. I thought he fell because he started crying. I thought when he got taken because he was.
Well, that happens all the time.
No, but I think he was upset. Like I think he was.
Oh.
He showed emotions.
Yeah,
as a football player.
He was supposed to be drafted
Soft.
higher. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, Judd, congratulations on your hard-fought victory here. Irv Smith Jr., nice work.
Thank you.
We'll see you out there on the practice field today. 2:30 or whatever time. I think 2:30 is the start time here, and I'll have my my notes app on my phone. Sometimes it gets too hot where like your phone shuts off.
You know what? That's
so
why you need this. That's why you need one of these, baby.
Yeah. So, all right, Judd's Camp Notes. That's a wrap. Purple Daily. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See you guys.